Alright, so here is a really cool camera. Now this one is an outdoor camera. It's all weatherproof rated. It has a built-in battery and solar panel that you can mount on top of it like I have it here. Or you can mount the solar panel up to 10 feet away to get the sunlight if it's not where the camera itself is. Now it has a rotating head here, so it does panning and tilting of this camera. It has automatic tracking of objects. It has artificial intelligence that's actually built into the processor on the camera that can detect humans. It can even detect specific humans based off facial recognition, pets, animals, that kind of thing. It can detect and then it tracks them. So once it picks them up, it's going to track them, and this thing can do full 360-degree type capability for the painting. And then you'll notice on here it's got lots of circles on here. There are two cameras. One is a 3K wide angle, so like 135 field of view, 135 degrees field of view, and then the other one is a 2K resolution that I think is like a 3x optical zoom. And they do some fancy software tricks where they make an 8x hybrid zoom. So they combine these two images and allow you to seamlessly zoom in between them, as well as a little extra digital zoom to get up to 8x. And they say about 50 feet is where you can get detailed image out of this camera. So detailed image means like recognizing face and things like reading a license plate. So really cool camera, compact unit that I really like. Even if you don't have solar, it will get about 3 months of power from the battery without even charging up at all. So really versatile camera. I really wanted to get it set up and test it. Now I have lots of different cameras that I test, and this is just one of them that is out there. So I will make sure I compare how it performs with lots of others. I do test these for several days or several weeks often before I put the video up. And then I have lots of cameras that I have out for years now that I've been testing to kind of compare to. Now, before I get too far, I must say this is Nate, and this is the Nader Tater channel. I do encourage you guys to like the video down below, subscribe if you like this content, and be sure to tune in for more coming out every week. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead and actually give you the summary of my testing and what I think about the camera, and then I'll get into the unboxing and how do you set it up in the app and all the different features in the app itself. But so it's out there right now, so I'm not holding it, and it's because it's a great camera and I enjoy having it out there. And it's really cool having a camera that tracks and has some of the AI and can detect facial stuff. That's what I really like about it. And just know that there are a couple limitations with this camera, not necessarily negatives, but understand that because of the way that the sensor is on the camera for the PIR and the visual, it does need to see the movement in the field of view for it to detect it to then track it. So if you have something off to the side, it won't automatically know to look over there. They actually do have another camera, a Floodlight Pro Cam, that has PIR sensors on at least I think 3 sides, and so it can actually detect things to the side that the visual camera is not seeing, and then it turns the camera to there. So this does not have that, but this camera is also much smaller than that other one, so that is a trade-off that you have to go to, as well as it's more expensive. Another point on this camera is that the light that's on it is at 100 lumens, so that is not a very bright light. They have other ones that are floodlight cameras, and they actually have big LED panels, and they can light up and be a single source of light for an entire area. This does not have that. I knew that when I was getting this one, and so it's not a big surprise, but just make you aware that Eufy has other cameras that do fill those needs. Alright, so I want to touch on just a couple things about this camera, and one of them that you'll see here is this edge connection in the top left. That actually is because I paired it with their Home Base 3, and so this can be either a standalone just using your home Wi-Fi, or it can use their Home Base, which actually has its own wireless signal that it connects directly to it. With that, you get some extra features. The Home Base has its own hard drive. It has its own artificial intelligence with facial recognition and stuff. So it has some more capabilities there. What it did do though is it reset my detection statistics when I did that. So I have been using it for more than 4 days and had more than 200 events detected. My point there of showing you that is if I go to my dashboard here, Again, I guess it only shows you the past 4 days. But it was not charged all the way before I brought it out there. I think it was around 60% charge. And it charged up even though I was getting hundreds of detections and recordings. With that solar panel, it actually is able to keep charging itself as the day goes on. So that's just proof that it is able to sustain itself out there even with lots of detection. And in fact, I forced it here to this customized recording where I forced it to record the full 2 minutes and triggers every 5 seconds intervals. This is the most aggressive that you can be with the camera settings. The one thing that I don't like about the actual functioning of it, if I do this in clip early if motion stops, I feel like it ends the clip too early, and I'll get a bunch of clips that are maybe 8, 10, 15, 17 seconds long versus a one continuous one that's 2 minutes long. So maybe that's kind of up to you as far as preference. I do like that you can have that toggle on or off, but I find it works best if it detects motion, especially like a delivery person comes up to the house and then they stop the car. Oftentimes they wait a while before they get out, and in that time that they wait, it might stop the recording. And then when the person gets out, if it is in that moment that it's delaying and waiting a few seconds before it reactivates, then I miss a part of them. So I just leave it recording and it doesn't run out of battery, so why not? And then I'll show a couple of videos here over the screen, but one of them is what happens when motion occurs, and I'll show like my wife actually coming home from work one day and it picking up her car and then tracking it as it goes over. The other question I often get on some of these other camera videos is what happens if there's multiple things out in the field of view? What does it track? And in general, it looks like it tracks kind of the biggest object, more or less, I would say. Or certainly if it detects a human walking in the other object, maybe it hasn't quite detected it as a human yet because it's a person on a bike or on something else, then it will go for the object that it detects as a human or vehicle or a pet first. So I'll show a video of that as well, of how it tries to manage my family out there on bicycles and little ATVs and some people walking. But overall, what I really like about Eufy is that they seem to make the products that I really do like as far as the right level of features, and they have a camera for almost all of my needs, meaning if you want the floodlight, you can get the floodlight. If you want pan, tilt, and zoom, you can get that. If you want 4K, you can get that. If you want a small bullet camera that is battery powered, they have that. If you want one of those that's solar powered, they have that too. If you want to power over Ethernet one, they have that too. Continuous recording, they can do that. So it has all these features that I really do like between the different cameras, and this is what I look forward to using. So let's get into the unboxing and the setup in case you want to watch that as well. Alright, well, let's open the box and see what all it includes. Alright, so in addition to the little camera itself, of course, you get a solar panel. And so this solar panel can be plugged directly into the camera to be mounted to it. Or you can use the extension cable here that is just a USB-C to USB-C. I think it's 10 feet. And that can get the solar panel wherever you need it to be to get the best sunlight. There's also a short cable here. I think this is for charging if you are connecting directly to this camera if you needed to, but you probably won't need that at all. And then it has 2 sets of mounting screws. Now you only need 1 set of screws if you take the bracket, and then you slide the camera into it like so, and press it in there, and then it clips in there. It is nice that it pops off because now you have easy access to those screws. You don't have to worry about going around the camera. Once you have the camera mounted, if you are going to mount the solar panel directly to it, then you take the solar panel mount, you have to unscrew it, and that will give you access to the base of it that has 2 holes. Those 2 holes line up with the top holes on the unit, and then you can screw it back on there together, and then you can thread the solar panel into it. So I'll still give you the ability to tilt the solar panel around, but now it is fixed to the top of the camera, and it's all one compact unit. So that is the nice thing about it here. And they actually do give you a little small printout here, which is a quick setup guide. It shows you what all the different features are on the camera. Alright, so if we look at this camera here, and it has lots of different things here. One of them, the bottom left here, is the PIR sensor, so that's the motion sensor. The little white dot is the LED light. I think it's 100 lumens, so not super bright, but it's going to give you a little bit of light. It's certainly not a floodlight. They do have floodlight versions of cameras just like this. And then you have your two camera lenses. So one of them is a 3K resolution wide angle, so things like 130 or 135 degrees of field of view. And then you have the other one, which I think is a 3X optical. So you get an 8X total hybrid zoom when they're combining both images and they're doing the optical and also a digital overlay on that as well. So they say about 50 feet is how far you can get good detail. So good detail means reading a license plate or recognizing a face from 50 feet away with this setup here with the 3K resolution. Alright, so then right in the middle is the photosensitive sensor. So that is going to determine if it's daylight or nighttime, and that will trigger that LED light or not. And then in the bottom is actually a microphone, and then the speaker is right above it, and then above that is a status light that does change color as you power it up or have issues or motion or whatever, and you can actually disable that in the settings. So then in the back side, if I take back off the bracket here, we can see there's a sync button, and then there's also a flap that opens up, and that is the USB port. Now there is no SD card slot on here, but that's because it has a built-in 8 gigabytes of storage, and it also has a processor on there that does all the artificial intelligence is built into it. But it has the ability to hook up to like a home base, and you can do local storage on the home base inside your home, or you can do the cloud storage as well, which is a paid subscription for the cloud portion only. Alright, so let me go into the Eufy security app and add this camera to my home. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit add camera, and then I need to find this style. So this one is obviously an outdoor battery camera. Alright, so then this one is at the bottom, and it is a SoloCam S340. So I have my existing home. I will add it to that home. And then now I need to tell it what the Wi-Fi is. And now this specific camera, you can see the little font there. It tells you it only supports 2.4 gigahertz. Some of their other cameras actually support 2.4 or 5 gigahertz. But because this one is outdoor rated or intended, typically your signals, your 5 gigahertz start to fall off when they go through the outside wall. So that's where this one is really focused on 2.4 gigahertz. Alright, so once I type in the Wi-Fi information, I go to the back here and I press and hold this sync button for 2 seconds. There we go, we get a beep. I tell it yes, I got a beep. Now it's going to generate a QR code for it. Alright, one thing here is the QR code does get cut off. So you do have to scroll up or down however you think about it so that it can...
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network, please wait.
Sorry, so that it can see the whole QR code. Otherwise, it will never scan it.
Setup was successful.
Alright, there we go. So it added it. I'm just going to call it the porch. Now I'm going to do optimal surveillance because I want the best surveillance I can get. And I know that I can put this device in a place where it gets good sunlight. So I shouldn't be too much worried about the battery life. Alright, I like the full effect notification because it sends you a text as quickly as it can. And then it adds the picture onto that notification very quickly. So we'll have that, and then we'll do the microphone and sound recording. So it's telling me to fully charge it, so I can do that before I go outside and mount it. Right here it tells you, you really want to aim to mount 7 to 10 feet above the ground, and then have the camera at a 15-degree downward angle as your kind of default view. Alright, we'll turn on AI tracking. Now it's going to be set up here to play. Now, obviously, I have it just sitting on my table there, but it still works. So what we'll do here is we will get this all set up outside, and then we'll see how well it performs. Alright, so hopefully you noticed I made this video kind of in reverse order, where I did all of the summary and the footage the first half of the video, and then the second half was actually the unboxing and the app setup or the camera setup itself with the app features. So if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. I will get to those and try to help answer them. And then, of course, if you want to buy one of these products, use one of those discount links down below to get a discount for yourself. And then stay tuned for more videos from my channel. There'll be more security camera stuff, more Wi-Fi stuff coming out, smart home stuff, as well as cellular home internet. So thanks for tagging along, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks.